Fish, it's Tracy. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video. One of my students today was super awesome, and we were doing this activity where you would like write in like different things to get them inspired for writing personal narrative. And it was a spot, it was like, write happy memories. And then she was like, happy memory is when Miss S came, which is me. And she was like, when Miss S came, because she's teaching ELA and she's super awesome and she's really pretty and really nice. And I was like, Jamily, I was like, you're adorable. So that was like my day, and I was like, oh, so cute. I love it. So, okay, so I was thinking about it and how I was inspired actually because there was this one website that I really wanted to talk to you guys about, and then I was like, why don't I just do like a video talking about a couple of awesome Magic websites that if you're trying to build like an EDH deck or you're trying to build like a competitive deck or like whatever, these are like some awesome websites that I use and a lot of people use, and I think that they're really good. So let's get started. They'll be listed in the down bar below, but I'm going to tell you why they're really awesome and why I like them. The first is Tapout. I build all my decks on Tapout, hands down. I really like it because it's super easy. I'm not a technological person at all, so I need things that are real easy. Tapout is definitely one of those websites because it does that, which is super awesome. So I really love that. It's a great way to organize your deck. What I really like about it too is it's a very visual website, and I'm a visual person, so it lays out for you the mana curve, so you can see, again, it doesn't matter what format you're building it for. You want to check your CMC on things. You want to check your color. You want to check how the mana base works with the, your mana base is working like with colors. You're making sure you have enough colors and like stuff like that, especially if you get to like, 3, 4, 5 color decks, something like that. You want to make sure, you can do that. You get to visually see your mana base, which I really like. I also like too that it's a nice way to like look at other decks, so you can find other people's decks. They're on the homepage, or you can just search. To me, it's like one of the most easy, like the easiest websites that I really like about it. This is another really awesome thing that I like about Tapped Out, I think, over a lot of other websites. I mean, I don't really know how a lot of like other ones use not Mana Base Crafter. No, there's this other website that people use to build decks, and I can't think of what it is right now. But what I like about it is that if you are buying a deck, and say you want to buy the entire deck like right there, you can actually take all of your cards and then put it right into TCG Direct, and they order all the cards for you. It's like super easy. Or if you're just building like you can just build like, I don't even know like what you would call it, but just like I guess like a list of cards that you need, you can do that, and then they can order straight through TCG. I do it, and it's super easy, and I really like that. So it's been like a super helpful thing that I really like, that it just automatically does it through TCG. It just makes your life so much easier. So I'm a huge fan of that. The next website is a really awesome website, and I need to use it more. I had actually heard about it, I think Paul? I don't know, but it's a really cool website, ETH Rex. And why I really like this website is because it gives you recommendations of cards that the majority of people who've built this deck have used. So you type in your commander, you're like, okay, sweet, I'm playing this commander, and they're like, oh, you're playing this commander? Here are the popular cards, and they organize it by different categories. So like, here are popular lands that you may want to throw in this deck. Here are really good instants, sorceries, creatures. It's just such a really sweet website. I really like it because it kind of takes like all, how I like to do decks a lot of times is if I'm building an EDH deck, I'll look at what a lot of other people are doing in their decks, and I'll kind of like compare and contrast, and I'll be like, oh wow, I saw that they all ran this one card, I should probably be running this card because it's really good in here. So this kind of just takes all that like work of going through and what it just kind of takes that and just puts it in one little website, and you're just like, hey, sweet, the majority of people are running this card, I should probably be running this card in my deck. So it's just a really interesting sort of thing. I don't know, I just think it's like really cool. I like it a lot. I think it's a sweet website. I definitely want to use it more. Okay, then it's Mana Base Crafter. So I talk about lands. I mean, I have like a couple land videos here, but again, this is really awesome where if you just type in your commander, you're like, okay, here's my commander. They give you just lands that you can put in your deck, because I know that sometimes it's like you're trying to build your mana base and you're like, hold on, like, what do I want to do with it and stuff, which, connected to Tap Out if you're building it on Tapped Out, or just like any other website. You don't have to use Tapped Out, that's just what I use, but if you're using like anything where you build your deck, you're using it in a place and then you can visually see, like how your mana base is looking and stuff like that, so it's giving you recommendations. So it just gives you recommendations for like your colors. If you're running Sultai colors, it'll give you Sultai lands that you can run, or not even just like 3 color lands, but like the 2 colors and whatever. So yeah, it's like super cool, I like it. Okay, Then we have the Gatherer. The Gatherer is really, really cool if you're building a very, very specific deck, I think. And what I mean by that is, say you're building, like, Human Tribal. You're doing, like, Red Human Tribal. Actually sounds really awful, don't do that. Like, I feel like humans are really good in white. Okay, you're doing White Human Tribal. You can type in the keywords, you know, human, and then you can block it off so you only get white cards. You know, things like that. You know, it's really good if you need a specific CMC. You're like, okay, listen, I'm looking for a black instance that costs 1 that destroys something, or like whatever. You know, you can type in all those things. You can really, really play around with the settings in there so you can look exactly what you want. So it's really good for keywords, really good for finding cards. Again, if you're like, I'm gonna build a merfolk deck, you know, here's how I do it. I'll go on there and I'll type in the word merfolk, and then I'll be like, okay, sweet, and I'll like right click and I'll like open a new tab, and so I have like a ton of tabs, and I have like 50 tabs open of like different merfolk, and I'm like, okay, sweet, like let's narrow this down, let's like look at them all and be like, okay, like which ones do I want, you know, that's just how I do it. It's just super easy, I really like it a lot, really, really good to like find specific cards, yeah. Okay, last website is MTG Tapout. When I was playing a lot more competitive Magic, I think I kept up with this a lot more, but MTG Tapout's a really, really awesome website. It basically says, oh, like there was an open, there was an IQ. Okay, cool, let's check out the website and let's see what decks top 8'd. Now, this is really good for people who are playing in competitive formats where you really want to know, like, what is the juice? Like, what is going on? What are other people playing? It also does this really, really awesome thing in the formats where it tells you what the most popular decks are. So if you're someone who's very into net decking and you're very into seeing what is the most popular deck, or if you're doing this because you want to know how to beat the best decks, you know, you could do that too. You could see what decks are popular. Oh, it looks like, you know, this control deck is really popular right now. Okay, cool. What cards can I do so I can beat that control deck? Things like that. It's also a really good place for getting ideas if you're playing for competitive formats. What I'll do a lot of times, and I do this for sideboard all the time, or again, when I played competitive Magic, I would look at the different sideboards in, like, you know, whatever, like elves, for example. I looked at a ton of elves sideboards, and then I was like, okay, these are the cards that I'm gonna pick, because again, I saw a lot of things in common, but then I was like, oh, maybe this will be a good card for, you know, this. And again, that's like another thing I think that's really important about sideboard is, you know, when you're building your sideboard, it's gonna look different than if you're playing at your local game store compared to if you're playing in an open. So if these people did well with this deck, obviously, and top 8'd with it, and this is what their sideboard looks like, you may be like, okay, cool, these are maybe the types of decks that I'm gonna see. Oh, and that's another thing, is you can see what type of decks are really popular so that you know what to expect in tournaments. It's especially, I think MTG Tapout's really good. I think you have people at all levels, but I want to say maybe especially if you're just getting into competitive Magic and you want to know what other people are playing, because when you get into a competitive format, or I mean, I guess EDH too, but you get into a format, you know, it's important, very important for you to know your deck, but it's also very important for you to know what other people are playing. So studying up on those other decks is just, I think, a really, like, you know, you're getting into a format, you know, you're getting into Modern, you should probably know what Snapcaster Mage does, you know, like basic things like that. You want to, like, make sure you know those. So again, if you see a card that's repeated a lot, you're like, wow, I'm going to see this card a lot. How can I play against that? How can I beat that card? Yeah, guys, that was it. That was it for, I guess my top 5 websites of things that I like that are, like, really useful tools that I recommend, using if you're someone who's really need to, like, find cards, build a deck, whatever you're doing. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video, and I'll talk to you later.